Welcome to the Linux Saloon, a place to discuss tech, open source, and where Linux is always on tap. Each show will have a talk about a Linux project, such as a distribution, a desktop environment, or application. We also chat about news or any variety of topics in the community. Anything that is Linux, tech, and open source related is on the table for discussion. And today is an end-of-year Christmas edition of Linux Saloon because we're not going to have anything until after the holidays. So just wanted to do something a little bit fun, a little bit different, and a little festive, if you can see behind me. So I'm Nate, a Linux fitness and vintage tech enthusiast with an almost unhealthy obsession with the OpenSUSE project. Almost. And with me today, I have Eris, Jill, Servan, Penguin Revolution, Colin, Jinda, and Servan. How is everybody?
Excellent.
We're doing good, Nate.
Wonderful. Happy to be here, Nate.
Excellent. I am so glad you could all be here today. But I've been missing Colin. He's obviously busy doing something. We'll get to that in a little bit. And Jill. It's always a joy to have Jill, which also starts with a J, so that's an alliteration. So on the docket for today, we're gonna be talking about just a variety of just Christmas and tech subjects or holiday and tech subjects. And we'll talk about the few weeks that we're going to have off and do our last call, and that'll be it. But it'll be kind of a free flow discussion, a little bit like an open mic night, but with kind of a theme going for it. So if you have not yet, you're in the listening, do the straw poll. It's anonymous, so you don't have to have any kind of login, but it is a straw poll on distributions. How many other distributions do you run besides your main one?
All of them.
So, and then, Adam just joined. Great. Maybe he can do the straw poll too. So,
I like straws.
Straws are great.
And I like pulling straws. No.
I like paper straws, believe it or not. So, and that might be kind of weird, but I don't like the taste of plastic.
Huh.
So I like the paper straws. I'm like the one guy that actually likes paper straws.
Save the turtles.
Save the turtles, that's right. All right, so what have you been doing in Linux, or just like where have you been, Colin? I haven't seen you in a while. I know you've been busy. When I look at your screen, everything is different. I'm not sure what's going on here.
Still in the same place. It's just been cleaned up and prepared for photos to put it on sale. Looking at downsizing the home to something a bit smaller.
Okay.
And been packing up a lot of stuff, packing up all my tech stuff, which can't believe how much stuff I've accumulated over the years.
Oh, sure.
And then it comes to making decisions, right?
Right.
What do you keep? What do you don't keep? Right. So I was going through some stuff. I've got a lot of Disney VHS tapes, originals.
Ooh.
I do have a couple of VHS players still in my possession, which I will not give up unless they don't work anymore. But I haven't used them for a long time. But all of this stuff I think is worthwhile keeping for a little while because you just never know. DVDs, CDs, DVD players, right? We rarely use them because everyone's streaming from the internet now, right? So this is, and then you're going through all this stuff. I've still got a couple of DVD Blu-ray players sitting on the TV units, and we don't use them, right? So what do you do with them? Do you get rid of them, or if somebody decides to flick the switch and there's no more streaming for a while, what do? You've got your DVDs to play, right? So it's decisions to be made, isn't it?
It
about
is
tech.
So for me personally, I actually have saved all my VHS tapes, and I have a couple of VHS players. One seems a little bit wonky. I mean, it just keeps kicking out Mary Poppins, which I think is a shame because you shouldn't kick out Mary Poppins. But that's just
right.
me. But it's literally only Mary Poppins, so maybe there's something wrong with the VHS tape. But anyway, so I like the old tech, obviously. But the reasons I like VHS specifically is it's a totally kid-safe medium for them to use. Like a VHS that they can't, for the most part, unless they chuck it down on the hardwood floor, spike it like a football, it's not, American football for those. They're not going to break it. They can't make it dirty. I mean, it takes some effort to really really mess them up. So I actually I like it for the kids to play. And actually, what's funny is like my oldest, he's I don't know where he gets this from, but he likes the old tech. So he actually likes VHS. He actually likes to watch the old Star Wars on VHS. He's done that.
Nice.
And
Yeah, okay.
so I don't know, maybe I have to get some horror flicks someday, you know, because the grainy makes it scarier, you know. No, I'm kidding. I don't like horror flicks. But yeah, I think there's a place for it. I mean, it's the quality's not as good, but it's, I mean, I think it's still fun to watch them, you know. Yeah.
Well, I bought myself a capture card many years ago, and I captured a lot of I don't know if I've got a camcorder, right? The old camcorder with the little VHS tapes,
right?
And then they go into a bigger compartment so you can play it, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Like CVHS, something like that, compact VHS.
Yeah, I can't remember what it's called, but I remember many years ago I captured my whole wedding that I had on VHS, and also a lot of the kids' footage, and that's all on digital. It's not very good quality, but it's preserved.
Yeah, I found some old home videos of when I was a kid at like a birthday party, and I think my dad was videoing it, and he had a very thick German accent, and I even had one too, and I don't know what happened to it, but it's kind of fun to watch.
Yeah, it's good nostalgia for the kids.
I was just thinking about how many. I probably have over 200 VHS tapes, and part of that is being an animator. And back in the early days in the 80s, that's how you edited your animations. And so we had VHS as well as higher quality tapes, 3/4 inch. And then I still have all my recordings of when I recorded the original series of Star Trek back in the 80s with the our very first Philips VHS recorder. So I still have all those tapes because they're special, because they have all the little commercials in between, and I have a bunch of Star Trek specials on there and stuff.
Oh, that's very cool.
So it's
nice.
just been it's hard to back it all up. That's the thing. I have one of those VHS to DVD recording units. So when I get a chance, I pop one in and make a recording of it.
I think the VHS tape that I probably played the most as a kid was Muppets Take Manhattan.
Oh, that's a great one.
Yeah.
Wore a hole right through it.
Yeah. I love VHS too. I think I probably got over 300 in the house, something like that.
Wow.
Yeah,
I've got a large one to connect. And the funny thing is, none of them are from when I was a kid. I've acquired these as an adult.
Yeah.
We got rid of all the ones from the kid, but I acquired them later.
Yeah, I think I still have. I've actually gone thrifting and picked some up, like just because they're there and they're like basically giving away.
So it's an interesting and very expensive and labor intensive thing, but I actually converted some of our home movies that were on VHS over to digital form, like not DVD, but like a digital. I used a RetroTink 5X as like a retro game scaler, and fed that into a capture card and used OBS to capture from the upscaler. So upscaled the VHS to like 720p or something, and then put those into like digital files so I could put them on Plex, and the family can watch them from there.
Oh,
that's very cool.
That's cool.
Nice job, Adam.
Cool. That's cool.
There was
it's very time consuming.
Yeah,
very time consuming when you're doing VHS tapes. Oh boy.
Yeah, because you gotta watch them through, right? Like.
Yeah, correct.
Real time.
Yeah, you can't open the terminal and say YouTube DL. And put in the address. You can't do VHS DL or whatever. It's very different.
Well, you shouldn't be using YouTube DL anyway. You should be using the DLP one anyway these days. Just
maybe I should come up. Maybe I should come up with BoobTube DL.
Yeah, that's funny.
Hi everyone in chat. We got Cody. We got Metal Music. We got Steven Anderson in the house. Of course, Steve's very own is in there. I'm sorry, Cubicle. I'm just being my usual.
It's good. No, totally good. You're so welcome to do that. Yeah. So, Steven Anderson says it's hard to get rid of the music and CDs and tapes and old DVDs and old Blu-rays. That's 1080p, not 4K, but using HDMI 1.4. That's cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I still shop the bargain bins, at the big box store when I have the bin of DVDs, especially like right after Christmas.
Yeah.
You can like pick out all the Christmas movies and so forth. Yeah, I think, and I put them on my MB server, and then they're there. Like I just a couple of years ago, I think I picked up Christmas Vacation on Blu-ray. I got it for like
Awesome.
$5 or something like that. And I didn't realize it's probably not the best movie to show your kids. I felt like, whoops. Some parts in there that
I mean,
little bit.
Christian it's not that bad, but yeah, for younger ones, it definitely is one.
Yeah. So anyway, but they enjoyed the part with the lights on the house because, lights on my house and so forth.
My favorite part was when the cat got fried.
That was very funny.
It is just a classic movie.
Yeah. So, Eris, you're saying something about Super VHS. Wasn't there like a digital VHS that actually did like 1080p or something like that at one time? I thought I saw somebody talk about that. There was like
I think that's separate. That digital VHS or like HD.
Something like that.
Linus Tech Tips made a video about
Okay.
HD on VHS, I think, and that's a digital format.
Yeah,
I think
that's
that's something
right.
separate.
Okay. Yeah, it's actually just pretty wild like how well you can use those old mediums for things. And I know like when I was in radio 20 years ago-ish, a little more than, there was a guy, he would actually record all of his shows on VHS because he had like 6 hours of recording time and so forth, and it would actually be a higher quality than what he could off the cassette tapes. And reels at that time 20 years ago were had fallen out of fashion.
Yeah.
So
Hey, I used to do that too. I
really?
did a radio show for about 16 years.
Oh, wow.
And probably I have like the last 5 years on VHS because it's perfect for that.
Right. Well, it was replaced eventually with like a thing that automatically turned into MP3, so it became kind of useless.
Yeah.
I wanted to talk about the other side of the spectrum, which is I was reading something on Telegram in the Linux Saloon during the week. Somebody was talking about putting M.2 in a what do you call it? External via USB.
An enclosure.
An enclosure. That's the word I'm looking for. Yeah, I'm getting old, aren't I? Words are getting harder and harder. Yeah. So because I've been thinking about doing this because I don't know, USBs seem to just, I don't know if it's just the external USBs that just slow down when you're backing up stuff. I don't know if it's still something with the CPU and the kernel or whatever, but I was just wondering whether the M.2s are a lot faster. I'd have to think so. Via USB would be pretty handy, and try and get up to date with all the things to back up your stuff. And M.2s don't take up a lot of space either.
Right. Yeah, I haven't used that myself, but it looks like Vince has one. He's got he's showing us.
I've got one here.
Yeah. You can tell us,
Vince. So it's an NVMe adapter to USB 3. But I imagine that it's going to be limited still by the USB speeds. So I've got one of these. I've also got a 2.5-inch adapter as well because extra helping. And I don't notice a lot of difference between the two of them. So this 2.5 inch has got an SSD in it as well. But they're about the similar sort of speed. One thing I will tell you though is that a lot of these things don't do trim via USB.
Okay.
That shouldn't matter too much these days because I think a lot of the SSDs will do a lot of the garbage collection themselves.
Okay.
Yeah. Vince, if you're worried about speed, there's always the Thunderbolt option. Just plug it into a Thunderbolt. You might get a little bit more speed out of it, but I use this thing right here. This here is an SSD. It's a 5 terabyte SSD. That's capable. That's Thunderbolt compatible. So I mean, and I only paid something like I think only like $30 for this thing. It was cheap back then.
I was thinking about Thunderbolt myself because this Intel NUC's got Thunderbolt, but I'm not sure whether it works. I've got no experience with it, so it's another thing to consider.
Yeah. Yep. Well, the thing is, in order to get the Thunderbolt speeds, it has to be a Thunderbolt device. If it's not a Thunderbolt device, it's only going to go at USB 3. speeds.
Okay.
So
Yeah, that is an issue.
I do notice that when I transfer large files onto even through USB 3 on a USB 3 drive, there's like this little time afterward where it says it's done, but it's kind of lying to you and doing something. Does anybody know what's going on at that time?
Yeah.
It's like
I hate that cubicle.
It's a file system syncing thing.
Yeah,
it is?
Something weird. Yeah.
mhm.
Yeah, when I copy one of my big like animation files, I usually just let the computer sit for at least a minute after. So you don't see the USB LED flashing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what you
on
can
the
do,
drive.
Nate or Jill, is after you do the transfer, you can open up a terminal and just type the sync command, just SYNC,
Oh yeah,
and it'll sit there. And then whenever it's done, you're good.
That's right.
really?
I forget about that. Thanks,
Yeah.
Adam, reminding me. I can do that.
Well, the best thing to do is always just use the eject button on it before you unplug your drive, because then you make sure it's all done.
I just like to
Yeah,
yank
I
them
always
out,
unmount.
play risky.
Just, yeah,
Risky,
get out.
No, I unmount all my drives.
Yeah.
Nate playing Russian roulette with 5 bullets in the chamber.
Almost 6.
So, is there any other challenges in this moving process, Colin, that you've come to?
Oh,
with
challenges!
technology?
Oh, huge challenges. Yeah. Well, there's cornices up in the top roof, slightly cracked and all that, so that all needed to be fixed. And I've been working on it after work every night and on the weekends, and have to match up 3 different types of paint. So that's time consuming in itself, because you've got upstairs, downstairs, over here, over there, everywhere. So and then if you just forget something or the paint color, then you've got to go back to that paint color if you'd forgotten something, right? So and then there's the cleaning up process, just going through things that you've had for a long time. Nostalgic things, like we had the kids' bikes since they were, so tall, sitting in the shed. We don't need them anymore. Give them to charity. Somebody can fix them up and give it to somebody who really needs it. So it's just sentimental things that you'd really find hard to let go. And it gets to the point where you just got to say, it's got to go.
Yeah.
They're the challenging ones.
Yeah, I was actually doing some cleaning in here today. So when I moved, out of my house, I basically threw, like, early on in the moving process, I was very organized. I labeled everything, and then as we got closer to the move day, I became more and more sloppy, and so things ended up in the Nintendo bins that didn't belong there, and stuff like that. Just things got mixed up. And so today I actually purged 2. I like these little flip top totes because I like to standardize everything because it's just how I roll. But I've been purging stuff, and like I came across a bunch of like military documents because I'm out of that now, and it's like, well, do I keep these? I need to go through these because it's a stack about an inch thick, and I just don't have like the headspace to do it right now. So it's like, back in the box it goes, and push it off for another decade, I guess.
Yeah.
I hear you, cubicle. What I've been doing, because I have, like you, I have so many collections. I collect so many things. It came to a point where I finally had to stop collecting certain things because I just don't have space in the house.
Right.
Obviously my vintage computer collection is priority and all my computers. So, but there were some other collections, I had when I was a kid. I just decided, it's time to give those up. But what I do is, if I have an attachment to it, is I take really nice pictures of all the things that I give away, and then I give them away to someone who loves it and cares for it. So it's kind of it's kind of my way of rationalizing. Okay, if I have a nice picture of it, it's okay if I give it away.
That's what I did, Jill. I actually sent the pictures to my daughter on Messenger.
Aww,
and she goes, wow, I didn't even know we still had those.
Oh, she didn't even remember. So time to get rid of them.
That was the bikes. They were hanging up in the shed off one of the shelves, just sitting there collecting dust. It's just, I don't know. It's decision time, isn't it? You got to do it at some point. Yeah.
We all got to purge.
So this is just an idea, and I've I've noodled this around. This is not just a single idea here. I'll put it in the Zoom chat as well. But it's Instructables has 3D scanners, so you can actually scan your things in 3D, and then you can actually have like a, so it's not just a picture, but actually something that you can rotate and look around and so forth. So it's something you could do.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just an idea. If you have to get rid of those things.
Yeah.
I thought about that for like I have I inherited a lot of just things out of my parents' house. I don't know, because it's what my sister does to me. And so like some of these things, like I don't really want to like just because like they're my parents, or like they were like old toys or whatever, or what papers and documents, pictures, but I don't want to keep them either. And so I right now I'm hanging on to them, but I'm thinking about like doing something like this, kind of scan it so I have that so I can look at it again, but keep it in a digital form instead.
Would you 3D scan your kids?
No, when they go, that's fine. No, I'm just kidding. It's actually not a bad idea, like to kind of catalog how they grow over time. That might be kind of a fun thing to do. That's not a bad idea. I don't think they would appreciate it though.
No. No, especially when they're like 3 years old and always want to run around like mine. Yeah.
Oh wow.
Mine are quite a bit older now. All right. Well, cool, Colin. Well, keep us informed. Even though we're not going to be doing any Linux Saloons lives until after the new year. Be sure to stay in touch.
So this is the last one
for the year.
Till next year, is it?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, that's cool.
That's why it's an end of year Christmas special, and because it like the next week falls on Christmas Eve, and the week after falls on, or for you, Christmas Day, I guess, and then New Year's Eve, and I don't know that I'm going to want to hang out here in this room. So
that's fair enough. I think we all
need a break.
We all will have.
Yeah. It gives some time to. I got some ideas for what I want to do next year. A season 2 of sorts of Linux Saloon, or year 2. So I just did a thing recently. I should say I published a thing recently this week. I finished a video on a thing that a project I finished in March. So it took me about 9 months to finish this video of my Commodore 1541 Impostor, which is a Commodore 64 had this drive. This Commodore 1541. It's a floppy drive, a 5 1/4 floppy drive, and I needed a companion device for my Impostor computer here. Because there were no SD card readers or anything like that, like a limited number of USB drive slots and so forth, and I wanted something that could I could have additional stuff. So I did a video on it. What I did to the parts I 3D printed to make it all work, and it has an actual an IEC connector in the back. So it's actually like it could be a finished product, but it's a prototype basically. It's built like a prototype, but it's fully functional, and it has on the front compact flash SD, the micro SD card reader. It's got the MMC and some others I don't have. And then also has SATA and eSATA ports in the front, USB 3 and USB 2. And then there was still space in the inside, so I put another SSD inside of it. For a 2 terabyte SSD, just for additional storage. Not that I necessarily need it, but just why not, right?
Yeah, why not?
And so
prices are so low right now too.
Yeah, well, I bought it back in March. So it was like $170 for that SSD. So
okay.
Yeah, it's much better now. I guess if I would have waited, but it turned out really nice. I really like it a lot. I mean, I use it all the time. It plugs in. It's a USB 3 plug-in. It's got basically a hub inside of it that powers everything. So I did a video on that. It's been published on my Cubicle Nate YouTube if you want to check that out. Yeah, it was just a fun project, and I have some other projects I'm trying to get to as well. Just sometimes things take a little bit longer to get done, than you'd like. So if you watch it sometime in like the next 9 months, I think that seems fair since it took me that long to do.
Yeah, no. with vintage computer stuff and well, in your case it's your high-end computer you're working on.
Yeah.
But it always takes time. Always.
Yeah. So
yeah.
I like the idea of repurposing things, just because something is old and maybe it's not useful on the surface. I like turning something that's not necessarily useful into something that has value and can continue to be useful.
Yeah.
That's kind of one of those things I enjoy. Anyway,
Oh,
so
Commodore 64s are always useful.
yeah,
Always. Yes.
Always.
right there, powering this over here. So if you can see that.
So
Awesome.
cool.
Yeah.
Actually, it's the C64. It's not quite a Commodore 64 because I was lazy. All right, so if you hadn't had a chance to do the straw poll, I think the time's up, right? Eris?
Ooh,
I think this is a great straw poll. There's still time. There's still time. Sneak it in. Eris.
Okay.
But it was, besides your main distro, how many other distros do you use several times a year? That was really fun straw poll.
So is everybody done?
Think so. It's only one question.
Okay.
So the number one answer was 3 other ones, and that was 29. Well, somebody else voted. So it's 3 other ones, and it's 28%. 2 other ones, and that's 25%. 1 more distro, so that's 2 total, 17%. Just the 1 distro, 14%. More than 9 other ones, 8%. 4 other ones, 2% or 3%. 5 other ones, 3%, and 9 other ones, 3%. And I just put it, I think, in the beginning that this is besides your main distro. I would not include distros that you install to explore new release, and then quickly remove. I would only include them if you use them more than once a year. This is some caveat.
I think I voted for. I used 3 others myself. But Jill, you said you use them all?
Pretty much, because I'm always testing them for all my shows. So I usually I have set aside. I have many computers I use for distro testing, and I keep them on there. And then I just update them, and then what I do is I sometimes will use like 20 different computers to do show notes on, and it keeps them going. So I move around.
That's fun.
Me, I was the 9 other ones, and I got so many virtual machines on this computer. It's not even funny. I think I'm running right now about 17 virtual machines with a different window. Oh wait, no, only 18 of them are Linux. One of them is a Windows virtual machine. But yeah, 18 right now.
So, and I'm kind of curious. So, Eris, how many did you say that you used?
I think I put 3 other ones.
3 other ones? What are those other 3?
I have I usually use Kubuntu and the system. Sometimes it's Ubuntu, so I kind of put the 2 for that. And then I use Raspberry Pi OS, and I also use the Ubuntu Server Pi.
Okay, that's cool. Colin, did you happen to vote on that?
Yes, I did. I put Peppermint, 2 distros, 2 more distros.
Okay.
I did because I'm using Arch, which is the Xnix's Arch, and I'm also using Peppermint for my Plex. And I was using Linux Mint for something else as well. So I'm using 2 other distros. I'm usually using a lot more than that, but I've just really backed off lately. And I've been on this Arch one for quite a long time too. So like you said not long ago, I remember you saying that, I think it was you, that you get so used to being on the computer with everything sort of set up, it becomes hard to change, to be honest. Yeah.
It does.
I voted for one other one.
One other one?
Yeah.
You use what, like Fedora and what else? Ubuntu?
SteamOS.
So,
yeah.
On the Steam Deck, yeah.
Oh yeah, that's right. What about you, Jinda?
It would be Linux Mint and Raspberry Pi. Those are the 2 other ones that I usually run.
Okay. Seems good. I know Servan's probably 0 others. He's like all Endeavor, I think, right?
Right now, I have Debian on Rock 5e because nothing else boots on there.
Okay.
But it might change in the next few months.
So 1 other.
Yeah, 1 other, yeah.
And so Adam has 1 other.
easy if you have a single operating system across multiple devices.
Mhm.
For me,
I agree.
I use similar configurations. All of them are connected. I can use all of them for distribution, cost compiling. Like earlier, I used to have the x64 version too on my potato laptop, but that's dead. So having the same operating system across multiple architectures and multiple devices, you have same workflow if you want to. It's easier to maintain. And I have like a package server, local Pacman server.
Okay.
If I download packages for one device, it's available for all others. I'm saving bandwidth. There's no need to download packages for multiple devices because it's the same operating system.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense. I think a local instance to pull out your updates from is probably pretty valuable.
It doesn't mirror the entire repository. It's just the packages you install.
Okay.
It's called a Pacman cache server. So it just caches the packages you need across the devices. So I have Tailscale for a local network. So anything across a local network can access those packages.
Yeah, I think a cache server for just maybe even part of the OpenSUSE official repository would be quite nice because I have quite a few things that I update. So
yeah, I think there should be something similar, or what you can do in your case. You can I forgot what, but there are some tools in which you can mount your package cache onto your network and make it common. Or it's a little bit complicated. That's why there are people who work on these things and make separate apps to make it easy. But I think there should be something similar for OpenSUSE, because I know most of the people here have multiple devices with Linux with similar operating systems.
Mm-hmm.
So it's very helpful if you have a package cache server, because it makes your updates faster. And also, if you update a system, something goes wrong, you don't update other systems.
Good point.
Again, it's uniform.
So about you, Vince, how many other distributions do you run? I know you run some variant of Arch, some flavor of Arch, right?
Yeah, so my main is Arco Linux. That's on a couple of different machines. So my other ones I put down were Ubuntu Server, and there was some conjecture in Telegram about whether they were separate distros, but I counted them as separate, and Raspberry Pi OS. So I have Ubuntu on my home theater PC. It's a little Intel NUC, which runs great, because I used to have Arch on that, and every time I would turn it on, it would need to update, and then that was just tiring. Because we don't watch a lot of TV, and so when I turn it on, I just want it to work, and I don't want to change it around a lot. For my little home server lab PC I've got, I have Ubuntu Server on it, and again, it's something I don't want to change around, and I really appreciate that they've got this 10-year support, at least for security updates at the very least. 10 years of support now. That's great as well. I think I could just leave that for the next 10 years. And of course, I got my Raspberry Pi OS for my Pi-hole and VPN.
I think the trick is, will a drive last 10 years? I think probably the bigger trick.
It's an NVMe, so I reckon it will.
So if you want anything reliable on a Raspberry Pi, never ever use micro SD cards. You don't know when they'll die.
Yeah,
That's another reason why I didn't go Arch Arch based on the Pi. You go with something that's Debian, like Pi OS.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I've had that SD card failure thing happen. And funny enough, it was my Pi hole that was also my DNS box. So you can imagine having to explain that to the rest of the house, like, oh yeah, you lost internet, but whoops. Yeah.
It's amazing how much responsibility you gave to this tiny little $30 machine.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. I mean, you don't entrust kids with dangerous things. Don't entrust an SD card to your Raspberry Pi. So
No. And anyways, Vince, Ubuntu Server and Ubuntu are two different distributions, because they have two different package bases that they derive from. If I could actually talk.
So I run Debian besides OpenSUSE, of course. So Tumbleweed is my primary, so I consider Leap to be one. That's a different one because it's a different base. Then I have, Steam OS, which I really enjoy, even if it is got, a Arch heritage. Then I have Debian on my lights, the thing that actually drives all the lights in my house. It's a BeagleBone, basically, that does light shows. So that's Debian on there. And then also I have the Home Assistant that runs a form of Debian. I believe they're both on the same iteration, so I consider that the same. And then I have a couple machines that run Ubuntu as well. So that's what I'm going on.
Nice cubicle.
Yeah, it's good times.
Yeah, you have to run Debian. For those of us that collect vintage computers, the most installed distro I have is Debian, because it supports all the old architectures. And OpenSUSE too, quite a bit. Hopefully they don't change that.
Yeah, they're looking for volunteers to help with that, and I don't know. I've actually started pinging some people saying, "Hey, okay, what does it take to do that?" Because if you can hold my hand for a few weeks, then I could, because I use the 32-bit version of OpenSUSE quite a bit. So I have a couple machines that run Tumbleweed. And also have the version, the V2 x86 64 V2.
Yeah.
I have some V1 machines that I still, they're still great machines. I don't know. I understand that, I think it was Servano talking about the speed bump that they would get.
Yeah.
So,
I get it. Yeah.
Yeah, I understand, but I wonder if there's a way to make it all work. I think that's probably why they're looking for maintainers. So.
Well, literally today, there was an article released by the Register who says that OpenSUSE may be reversing that decision.
Oh, really?
So,
Here's
very
hoping.
possible you'll be okay, Nate.
Yeah. Well, I think that the thing is, like, because I do use it, and if they're looking for people, I probably should get involved in that aspect of it and help out with that, because, I mean, if I'm taking advantage of it and someone else can't, it's too much for the people now,
absolutely.
then maybe start me on the 586, the 32-bit version, because it honestly, I run one's headless, so it doesn't matter. I don't need a lot of the graphic stuff with it. It's just a headless device, and runs great.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, I have it on my old the oldest computer I have OpenSUSE on is a 46. It's a compact concerto.
Oh,
and
really?
It supports the touchpad. It was one of the very first tablet computers that came back in the day with Wince or Windows 3.11.
Yeah.
So, but OpenSUSE is supported on that machine. So because
that's
of
cool.
the 32-bit.
Yeah.
I don't have anything older than a Pentium 3. I think right now that's fully functional. I get myself a 46.
Most of the older architectures is that unless it's a company doing it, if it is a community base, it's very hard to find many users who are capable enough to maintain those packages. Like, it's not easy, like building and maintaining packages for alternate architectures, especially older ones, because it takes more time to compile those packages because the hardware is slower. And if you're cross-compiling them on other architectures, you have to be damn sure that the QEMU for that is really good. Or the cross-compilers, you have to build tool chains for that. And doing those things, like cross-compiling tool chains are so finicky. I've tried building them. It's like, it takes so much time, and it's very hard. And most of the times you're not even successful. So yeah, that's the issue for cross-compiling other architectures. And especially older ones are, like, I'm not even sure how these people do it.
Yeah, I know there's a lot.
True.
OpenSUSE has the whole Open QA thing, which does a lot of the checking to make sure everything works after the new stuff comes down. I don't know how to use it though, so I guess I really gotta. I'll have some downtime here, like after next weekend. So hopefully I can get a hold of somebody and they can take me to school, hold my hand, and have the ruler out to paddle my hand if I do it wrong or something like that. Virtually, of course, paddle my hand.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we all know that once that Nate gets a hold of it, it might just blow up. I mean, no, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
So I've never blown anything up. Penguin. The the proper term is an unscheduled disassembly. That is what happens sometimes.
Yes.
Or just unscheduled decompiling. How about that?
That could be too, yeah. All right. Well, cool. That was a great poll, Eris. I thought that was a lot of fun. That one made me smile when I got to do that. So
good one, Eris.
So thank you, Eris, for all your wonderful polls you do. You don't know the smiles you bring to the, I'm going to say millions, even though it's not millions, but at least dozens, right? So thanks for that.
We are dozens. We are dozens of us.
It might be a few hundred because look at the
several
numbers.
Hundred, yeah.
Yeah. So I like to downplay things sometimes. Maybe I shouldn't do that. Bad me. New Year's resolution. Don't do that. All right. So I want to kick off the Christmas theme Linux tech and open source subjects here. I don't personally run GNOME, and I know there's a lot of people in the community that does run GNOME. And so I thought this was a very cool thing that you can get. It's an extension for GNOME. It is called Let It Snow.
Oh, it's classic. Yeah.
Yeah. So I didn't try to install it, but I wanted to. And it looks really cool. It doesn't fall over the currently active window, so the active window is in front of the snow. And you can use a slider to see how much snow you want, and it'll work with multiple monitors. So I think it's a really neat, just fun thing. I mean, okay, I don't like snow, but when it's not cold and looking at it through a window of sorts, I think it's pretty all right. And the snowflakes actually look like snowflakes up close and everything else. So it's just a neat little application. Is this something that is anybody here run GNOME? Colin, is this something that you might enjoy, or would this make you wear your hat again because you're getting cold watching it?
I could give it a go, but I try not to put too many extensions on my GNOME desktop, to be honest.
Well, yeah, I understand.
I try to keep it minimal. Adam normally runs GNOME, doesn't he? Has he tried?
We're not going to talk about that tonight. We're going to talk about that
tonight. Yeah. Oh.
Yeah.
It's a great extension. I was playing with it actually a couple months ago for a show review, and it's really well done. I've been using Xsnow though for years.
Xsnow?
So I love it.
Yeah, I was about to mention Xsnow because I'm running that on my computer right now.
Yeah. Oh, that's a good one.
It says it's incompatible for me, so it must be because the GNOME desktop on Arch has probably gone way past what that's compatible.
Probably too new.
Yeah,
it could be.
Because I'm looking at the extension. It's not supported by some of the newer versions.
Yeah.
Well, nonetheless, I think that it's when somebody puts a little effort into making your desktop a little bit more fun, a little bit less serious. I think that's great. There was an extension, totally unrelated. Well, maybe not totally, but there was an application. I think this is like early on in my Linux life, where it would basically be penguins crawling around your desktop. You would like crawl on your windows, you move the windows, and they'd fall. Yeah. Does anybody know what that is? I just thought
like
about
a Lemmings thing.
It was just like a Lemmings thing. It looked like the same graphic assets as penguins.
I think it was one of those like X Toys thing. It was like Xpenguin or something like that. It was like a really early like one of the most basic X 386 packages.
Penguin. Yeah, because I think I have played with that app too.
Yeah. I just thought it was fun because you could I was I wasn't home at the time. I was overseas learning my Linux, and I had the penguins crawling around, and I would let them crawl in the window, then move the window out of the way, then catch them, and sometimes let them fall. And I was amused by that for quite a while. So
it is Xpenguins. I just found it. I'm like, okay. I have that installed.
And I had to dig deep for that one.
Yeah, Xpenguins. I'm surprised it's still packaged by Ubuntu too, because it's in the Ubuntu repository as well.
Yeah.
I mean, it's going to be an automated build at this point. Like nobody is like, gotta rebuild Xpenguins. New release.
Yeah, it's gotta be because I'm like, I don't think it's even maintained anymore.
It's probably maintained and as such that it doesn't when it goes through the automated testing and that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah, the pipeline doesn't fail.
Yeah, and it probably would only get any major updates or changes if something actually broke, I'm guessing.
Well, it might have to be updated to Wayland Penguin, mightn't it be?
That
Well,
is a good.
I'm on Wayland now, so we'll see if it works.
I think it might be fun to put that on my Steam Deck. I wonder if there's a flat pack put on the Steam
Yeah, I
Deck.
don't know.
And then, like, so that when the kids are trying to play games, it's like crawling on. I don't know if that would work, but in my mind,
Yeah.
it sounds pretty funny.
But me, I don't use Wayland, so
How about Xwayland Penguins? There we go.
There we go.
I fully expected it to run that way.
Yeah.
So another really fun little application that I only played with the Bash one. I couldn't get the Perl one to work here, but it is a Christmas tree in your terminal.
Yeah, it's a good one.
So the Perl one, I couldn't. It just like some of the modules. Maybe just I didn't have the right. I couldn't figure it out. I couldn't get the Perl one to go. But the Bash one works great. It's just a single wget command. Then he pulls down the script, and then that one's kind of fun to do. So if you want to check that one out, I like these kinds of things. They just kind of bring a smile to my face. I don't know. Terminal apps to me, I don't know why. I just really like them. I didn't like them, in the 90s, but like in the 2020s and 20-teens, I just started to really like them a lot. So it looks kind of cool. You can have that on in the background too. And instead of an 8-bit Christmas, I was toying around with the idea of a terminal Christmas, but I want 8-bit. So
update, the Xpenguins doesn't work on Wayland at least.
Okay.
So considering it on the time before even compositors and stuff were a thing, it's not surprising.
Yeah. I was gonna say probably it only works on Xorg these days.
Yeah, maybe.
I'm
Anyway,
old school. I'm still using Xorg on my machines, and I never install Wayland for some reason.
I think Wayland is really good. I don't know, Jill, if Wayland works well for you or not, but there's just a couple of different Wayland and Zoom don't get along. I figured that out actually.
Yeah.
It works, but I don't know if you noticed if you watch back the videos, you'd see it kind of lag and then it'll speed up and then lag. And it's not like it's taxing my system at all. It was just not happy. Doing Kden Live, it would lag really hard trying to edit video. So if I wasn't editing video, using virtual machines on VirtualBox or doing anything with Zoom, it would actually be great. As far as everything else seems really buttery smooth and great. And you don't have there's like no tearing at all. But because of those things, I don't know, it's they're gonna work it out. It's time. I see the updates, they're coming through. I see they're working on little bits and pieces that are causing problems. So it'll get there. I'm not terribly concerned.
My question is, does Wayland now work with Nvidia? Because I know it for a long time it did not work. Does it work with Nvidia now?
It is much better.
It's much better. I think they started. I think
perfect yet.
I think Wayland started supporting Nvidia instead of Nvidia trying to support Wayland, and I think that's the thing. But I think Nvidia is going to have to do some work to get it to work 100%.
Yeah, I mean, my last actually it was Fedora 36 before 37. And that was the first time that I installed Fedora and it had no issue with my NVIDIA card running on Wayland. That was kind of the first time. But this 37 was even better. So
that's good.
That was good. Yeah.
That's good news.
But I still mostly run Xorg 2 Penguin just for stability for now,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And for Xpenguins.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's
and Xsnow.
That's why I run. Yeah, that's why I typically run Xorg. It's just because it's more stable than Wayland right now. And if you really want the Wayland to write, you probably should be on a distribution like OpenSUSE or Fedora or Arch, because then you're getting the latest versions being rolled out. Because Fedora always rolls out Wayland.
The neat thing about Fedora is they're always on the leading edge. I feel like they're testing new technologies. Sometimes to their detriment, but you can always hang back until they get them kind of the edges smoothed out and it's fine. So there's that. But yeah, I think one thing that I really appreciate about Fedora is how they keep pushing. They're pushing the technology, and that's that is a good thing. It's not where I necessarily like to be, but I think it's a great thing.
Yeah.
The only problem I had with Fedora was this computer and its audio code, because this audio code doesn't support Pipewire at all, and
Yeah.
Fedora, to the point of like when I went and banned Pipewire from being installed, would go back into my config file and take that out and put it back and put Pipewire back on. And I was just like, I finally just said screw it.
So a good question from Anna Rita. She says, should I care if I'm running Xorg or not? Plus, what do I need it? Why is it better? No, don't worry about it. It'll come when it's come. Wayland will be here when Wayland is ready to be here. It's a more efficient and supposedly more secure display system. It gets rid of a lot of the old legacy bits that aren't necessarily, efficient out of the display system. But should you worry about it? No, not unless you want to. I like to try out the new shiny, and if it doesn't work, I can, tip back, but I like to, try it again, and if it doesn't work, then I can fall back. So unless if you want to play with the new shiny, it's not really relevant. But it is better. It is better for gaming, I think, in the long run.
Mm-hmm.
It can be. Yeah. The main reason I prefer using Wayland is separate monitor DPIs and scaling.
Yeah, that is nice.
So I have my laptop screen is a higher DPI than my external screen, and Wayland allows me to have 2 different scaling options per display.
Right.
Yeah.
So a 1080p display at 100% looks fine, but a 1440p at 15 inches is too small at 100. So
right.
Yeah, and that's one positive Wayland. But also to address Anna Vita's thing is, Xorg is still maintained for security by the distribution. So it's not like you're running an insecure system if you're using Xorg. Wayland is still a little bit more secure, but Xorg has more compatibility with Wayland at this point, just because Wayland's still being developed.
Yeah. The other reason you need to run Xorg, which I'm still mostly using X window managers like Window Maker and Rat Poison and Enlightenment.
The fun ones.
So I really need that Xorg, but they're working on a compatibility layer with the old X window managers to work with Wayland. So that is in the works. And
the thing is, i3 works with Wayland. And it's still an Xorg thing, but i3 developed a little bit of a compatibility
there.
Yeah. And I thought that was awesome. I'm like, man, I thought it wasn't going to work, and then all of a sudden it did. I'm like,
it did. Nice.
Yeah, i3 supports Wayland, and it's through some sort of compatibility thing they're doing. But
they're updating it. So some of the ones I use don't get updated except every 5 years. So those ones aren't using Wayland, but they are working on a compatibility layer for all the Xorg managers.
No.
Yeah, it's because a lot of these, it's like
Awesome
Rat
desktop
Poison isn't even maintained anymore, is it?
No. Nope.
Nobody uses Rat Poison except you these days.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm looking forward to running Enlightenment. I'm looking forward to running Enlightenment 16 in Wayland. I'll tell you that.
Yes. Hi, Bill.
Yeah.
Hey, Jill,
welcome, Bill.
everybody. Hey, Nate. I was just hanging out with our dear friend and community member Neil.
Yay!
You were gonna say that name.
I was hanging out with him at the robotics competition.
Nice.
Oh, nice.
Well, not really
Bill.
competition, more like combat robot fighting with lots of fire and exploding robots. It was actually a lot of fun.
Aw. So awesome.
I always feel bad for the robots.
You were going to do that.
Yeah.
Now I have an hour and a half drive home, so I thought, all right, on the way home I'll pick up whomever's in the saloon.
Yep,
Nice,
I'm glad you
Bill.
could. It's a Christmas special. It's the last one for the year, and so we're glad to have you pop in. And if you notice behind me, I don't know if you can see me on your phone, but I did make it as Christmassy as I could in a short period of time. So,
Yes, you
so
did.
there you go.
Excellent.
I say Merry Tuxmas.
Yeah, Merry Tuxmas.
Yes.
Merry Tuxmas to everybody.
Yes.
So
The gift of open source.
that's right. It is a very giving thing, is it not? It's all about giving. That's why I like it.
Absolutely.
So another fun thing that you can do that's free and Steam powered. You got to go, Colin?
Yeah, I got to go.
All right. Okay. Well, Colin, thank you very
See you
much.
later,
It was great
Colin.
having you.
Yeah.
I appreciate
No
all
worries.
your input over the year, and I wish you a
Yep.
Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, and also a happy moving time. So
Happy move.
Yes.
Yeah.
If it happens, it's got to happen first. So
right.
got to get the right price. So, but yeah, all of you have a happy, good Christmas, Happy New Year, and I look forward to seeing you all next year.
All right.
Bye,
Excellent.
Colin.
Thank you so
nice
much.
talking to you.
Cheers,
Been a
Colin.
while.
Thanks for the platform. See you guys.
Oh, glad to have you.
Easy, Colin.
Aw, thank you, Nate.
Steam has a lot of free Christmas games. So there, some are a little more elementary than others, and I don't mean elementary OS. I just mean elementary. And one that I think looks like fun, and I did download it and started kind of noodling with it a little bit last night or yesterday, I should say, until my kids took the Steam Deck from me because they wanted to play something, and I gave it up because I did. Anyway, so it's got a bunch of like little mini games in it. It doesn't cost anything. You can play it immediately. It has like I guess like Candy Crush or whatever kind of a game to it, and then it's got some other little fun little mini games. I only got to the Candy Crush part of it, and but it's something worth checking out. If you want. Let's say if you have your Uncle Rico comes over and you don't want him to talk to your nephews and nieces and such, you can put him this in the corner on the computer with this, and he might leave him alone. So, but you can check it out. I don't know if I put the link in here. So you can check that out if you like. It's a fun little it's a fun little game. So there's that. So here's the list. Says Elf is back. Complete his quests and restore Winterland. Blast through the hundreds of puzzle levels and have a fantastic Christmas holiday again. Hurry up! Winter has tons of fun in stock for you. So
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go download it today. I haven't
Me
played
too.
that one.
So here's another game before I get to another terminal thing called. This is probably a little less kid friendly, just based on the title. It's called Christmas Massacre.
No, I played that. I have
Yes.
played that. It is fun.
All right. So probably not for the smallest in your home. We don't need to cause nightmares.
Is
But
that
what's real
is that like the game? Is that like the movie Die Hard became a game?
Kind of. No.
So what's funny about this is they have an effect that it looks like talking about VHS grainy video to kind of add to the horror flick ambiance to it. And it's a little bit pushing the envelope here on what I think is maybe appropriate. And
It's hilarious.
yeah. So it's kind of funny, kind of morbid. But and you can turn off the filter effect of the VHS if that bothers you. But anyway, so doesn't cost anything. It is free to play, so you can check that out if you so
Thank
choose.
you for reminding me because I gotta play that. But another little it's not exactly a Christmas game, but it is actually a free and open source game. Is Tuxracer.
That's a great
Yes.
one.
Yeah, it's an
Snowy
old one,
infested.
but it's an older one. But yeah, it's great.
It's actually funny that like my kids, my daughter especially, she still loves playing that game. She likes playing it on her new computer that we made. So
Yeah, and it was one of the first Linux games I ever played back when I was in high school.
Same here.
And literally, because I was in a class called Computer Systems, that's actually how I got my my A+ certification. And that was one of the first things that our teacher did was fired up Tuxracer for us to play on Linux. It was awesome.
Yeah, it's funny.
Yeah, it's so much fun. Oh, Max Henry in chat says, "Any love for elf bowling during the holidays?" Oh my gosh, you remember when that game went viral back in the 90s?
Yeah.
That's
Yeah, I
funny.
remember.
That's super funny.
Yeah.
Yep. So does Max Henry, does he still play it though? Is the question.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'd play it
I
again.
don't know. Oh, Elf Bowling.
Yes.
Yeah.
It has got Elf Bowling. Yeah, that's took me a second to get with.
He says he was just looking for a copy.
Looking for a copy.
Yeah.
Yeah. I still have one somewhere.
Yeah, I do too. I just gotta go through all my old games, which I just
Yeah.
started going through.
Check archive.org. They seem to have a lot of those old
Yeah.
abandonware. I'm sure it's
Great.
considered
Yeah.
abandonware at this point.
Yeah,
It
it
is.
probably
yeah.
is.
It is on there. In fact, someone did a flash version of it too, and that one
Yeah,
you can play.
and
Yeah.
the funny thing is, if you wasn't that like originally designed for Windows 95 or 3.1?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, but the thing is, I maintain an archive of Windows 3.1 that was that I modified for DOSBox.
Yeah.
It works in DOSBox, Windows 3.1. I did it once.
All right, and then to get back to some fun terminal stuff, there's a log fire for the terminal.
Yes, that's a classic.
All right, so that's a fun one. I guess if you have I guess Vince has a NUC attached to his TV for watching TV, so maybe like on Christmas morning you can put the terminal log fire on there, because why go to YouTube and get that? Everybody that does that one, but if you can have one in terminal ASCII art, I think that is top notch. Maybe only slightly better would be Petsky. So GameSphere, or Matt, as he's known, says, we know accumulated version of gaming is using his Commodore 64. Yes, you can actually look behind me. You can see there's a Commodore 64 running now, doing a Christmas demo from 1982.
Don't be jealous, Matt.
Yeah, he's just jealous.
Yeah.
He's very jealous.
Yes, he wishes he had a Commodore 64. He just doesn't admit it.
We all do.
We have a Steam Deck, so you can have one on there. Although it doesn't really work. The keyboard doesn't really work on the Steam Deck. Keyboard input of the Steam Deck on device doesn't something wrong with that.
You said the keyboard doesn't work properly in Vice?
Yeah, so like the keyboard input from the Steam Deck doesn't actually input text into the into Vice. So I'm not sure what the breakdown is there, and I really didn't investigate. But it was a flat pack, so not sure. Maybe I should file a bug. It'd be great to have that.
You can hook up a Bluetooth speaker, a Bluetooth keyboard. I mean.
Yeah, that's exactly what I did.
Yeah.
Is there not a RetroArch core for Vice? Maybe that would work better.
Maybe.
Anyway,
I'll have to check that out.
Sorry, don't want to derail.
Yeah, no, derailing is fine. This show's all about derailing. If it stays on, that's no fun. So now there's a game that won't be released until the 23rd of December. It's called Christmas Luge. This looks This looks like a fun one, and I think it's kind of like so the penguins in a village below need some Christmas cheer. Slide away down the snowy mountain, gathering scarves along the way, and tossed them to penguins in need. So it looks like a fun game. Kind of, it's to me, and this would be a crude way of probably saying, but it's like Minecraft meets Tuxracer. It's kind of what it looks like with some modern gameplay. Awesome. So that might be fun. I mean, I think just the penguins wearing a blocky scarf, I think, is also just kind of fun. And there's some interactions there that looks like it happened. Happened. So
playing the xylophone.
Yeah.
So anyway, it looks like a fun game. So check that out. I don't actually know if that's gonna be free or not, but
yeah, I put it on my watch list for sure.
Yeah, it's on my watch list. As soon as I saw it pop up, it was on my watch list. I don't mind tossing with a few bones for that. Something for probably younger kids that I think is fun. There's this Christmas tree clicker. It looks like it could be a good time. I don't know. It's not really necessarily for, unless you need some mindless clicking, which I guess people do need that from time to time. But it's just the goal is to collect all the toys and as many gifts as possible. That's kind of the whole idea with that. But
they should let you do like a wallpaper, and you can put it on as your wallpaper for your computer.
That would be fun, yeah. If it was in the background, yeah. Has anybody? I haven't seen it happen this year yet, but around this time of year, VLC they include a Santa hat on top of the cone. Has anybody seen that yet this year?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's out. Yeah.
yeah, it's out. It's on my yeah.
Yeah, I get amused by that. And also this time of year, and I don't know how many distributions do this, but I know OpenSUSE, when you go to install OpenSUSE, the grub screen has penguins and Santa hats crawling around the grub screen. Like it's totally superfluous. There's no reason for them to do that, but I'm just glad that they do because it's very funny to me. So
Now I've got a question. Does that overwrite if you've done a custom grub config for like the visuals? Does
I
that
hope so.
overwrite that?
yeah, I hope so too.
It's like a huge improvement on anything any of us could come up with. So yeah.
Does anybody else have any play any Christmas games? Has anybody done any of that like in the last year or so? I feel like I'm talking too much. I don't like talking all the time.
No, not really. I
Any-
haven't
Not
had time.
recently.
Anytime I think of Christmas and video games, I think of the Simpsons episode where Bart steals Bone Storm.
I gotta go find that episode now on Disney Plus.
Buy me
I
Bone
understand.
Storm or go to hell. Yeah, that was the commercial.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I always think of Santa's Little Helper. You know, the dog. I think it was the very first episode, the one that I probably remember the most, when they got the dog and everything. Yeah. So
I have played Turbo Racing. Turbo Racing. It's a car. It's like some other car racing games. The one like Michael likes to play.
yeah. Rocket League.
But it's like a Rocket League, but it's a racing game where you try and get the ball in a hole, and it's got really beautiful scenery and whatnot. But not always. This is their first year doing a Christmas overlay, so they do
nice.
Christmas overlays, and I've played that. And then Golf with Your Friends. They have a Christmas one.
Oh, very cool. I didn't know that Garfield Friends did that.
Yeah.
Is that like a DLC or is it like a pack that you have to buy, or is it just somehow trickles down?
It
The
just
Golf with
trickles
Friends.
down. It
Okay.
updates. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I think Overwatch updated one of their maps, the Blizzard World map, to be like a
Oh.
Christmas theme.
Yeah.
And that does run on
Yeah.
Linux.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, Overwatch works on Linux just fine. Yeah.
Also, this time of year, this is my first year ever playing Fortnite, and I know that's not a game that runs on Linux, but I run Fortnite on my Steam Deck, and they give you gifts every day right now, so you can get different like things, and then I had to do some sort of like I signed up for GeForce Now, and then linked the Fortnite account to that, and then I got a really ridiculous skin for my character it's like really ridiculous Christmas looking, and I absolutely love it. So I will only play Fortnite now, no matter the time of year, wearing this ridiculous Christmas getup.
Did you just say you played it on your Steam Deck?
Correct. I play it on the Steam Deck quite often.
Really? Because I'm like, it doesn't work on Linux. They must have created like a custom version for it or something.
No. Basically, I'm using a Microsoft Edge flat pack, and I'm doing some fiddling with the flat pack and then adding it to Steam to basically operate like in a kiosk mode essentially, and then that automatically goes to the Xbox Play remote play pass thing, and then from there I play it. So it actually doesn't run too bad.
So it's straight up witchcraft that you're doing. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
So it's actually elf magic. We don't call it witchcraft.
They don't call it. Yeah, exactly.
So, but it runs quite well as long as the internet holds out. It actually runs pretty well. And actually, your internet doesn't have to be running great, but it still doesn't appear to be laggy. But I'm also not great at such games. I want a mouse and keyboard to play it. I can't do the controller thing.
You can't do a mouse and keyboard on a Steam Deck yet?
I didn't try, but I'm just saying
You can, but not in the what he's doing, not the sort of stuff he's using. No.
Yeah, I didn't think. Yeah, because I'm like, as far as I know, the Steam Deck has what, one or two USB-Cs?
One.
one. Yeah.
I hooked my Steam Deck up to a USB-C dock.
Yeah, you got to get a
same.
power dock and have all the ports.
So I could just hook up my USB-C, one of my many USB-C hubs to it if I wanted to, but I don't have one yet. I will be getting one as soon as it comes in, but they're estimating that it's going to be like in January. Hopefully, I can get my hands on it soon
Yeah.
because I'm really looking forward to it.
Well, the thing is
No,
that
it
I
comes
like
in
to.
handy.
Yeah, it is. It's such a great device.
Mhm. Yeah, it looks like it. Has anyone seen what? Has anyone seen the Pine book? Not the Pine book. The Pine Tab 2 news yet? That actually looks like it's going to be a good device too.
Yeah.
I want one. I was looking at what they were trying to do. I'm like, it's a tablet you can work on. I'm like, I want one.
Yeah, I think it'd be fun. I think I have too many gadgets right now. I'm kind of in a phase. I don't know if anyone goes through this, but like where my eyes were too greedy the last couple of years, and I got a lot of things, and then it's like, well, I haven't really, I don't know, like properly processed through them. Does that make any sense?
Yeah.
Like where I haven't, like I still play with my Pine phone, but it's still not quite right. I'm still kind of tweaking it, and then I want to get updates, and I got to tweak it again. So I feel like I'm not fully enjoying that. So maybe I shouldn't fully enjoy something else. But the Steam Deck, that's a different story. I think that's that's a phenomenal.
It's such an awesome device.
The thing is, you've seen my tablet. And I'm just like, I've been looking for something, but I don't necessarily want an Android tablet. I'm just like, a Linux tablet sounds fun. So, I mean, it can just replace my Android tablet.
Yeah, you'll like it. And the second one is a much more improved too. They really
the first one
was
flopped.
only 720. Yeah. It was
the first one flopped just mainly because of the post procurement in the 2020s.
I don't think it flopped. I wouldn't call it a flop.
I mean, it was good.
Yeah, it was a lot of hardware issues with that, with the slowdown, and that was one of their biggest problems.
Yeah. I would say as a device, though, it was a success. It just they had other things that stopped it from being successful.
Yeah, it was not bad hardware once they got it out, but yeah. Unlike the Librem 5, which is what, $1,600? Gosh, I couldn't even afford that one.
Oh, we only talk about happy things, so it's a happy thing.
Yeah.
Happy thing day.
Where's Brandon when we need him, right?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Or
Neil, yeah.
Or Neil, yeah.
Yeah, he loved his Librem so much he sent it back, I think.
If you truly love it, you'll let it go.
That's right.
Yeah, Brandon got his and sent it back. Neil never got his.
Oh,
yeah, that's true. Yeah.
So did he get his money back at least? Let's not talk about this.
I don't think so. Yeah, that's one of those where if I bring it up, he gets very angry and
okay, don't bring it up.
Something else. I only do that to him if he jabs me. If he jabs me about something, that's the ace that I pull out of my sleeve.
Oh, Bill.
What's nice is that when a little bit of Sudo Show insider is that when the three of us are recording Sudo Show, I can easily stop a conversation that they're ganging up on me on by saying, how's your Pearson phones working? And then it's kind of silent for
oh God.
Good one, Bill.
Yeah, so basically you pull out the nukes on him, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's what I call the showstopper because it literally stops us from moving forward. In the show.
That's hilarious.
It's a successful parry.
Yeah.
Yeah, it sure is. It's been great. I'm glad the three of you are doing the show together. It's been so wonderful.
Yeah, it's wonderful when Bill's on Linux Out Loud too.
Yeah.
I love being part of both coach shows.
Yeah.
He's going to show up at my house one day with a mechanical keyboard that he's going to beat me over the head with. Sure.
No, he's a big teddy bear. He couldn't do something like that. Well, here's another fun game to try out, and I think my kids thought it was interesting. It's called Model Railway Easily Christmas. It's basically it's a game that you put together, model railroads together, and that's basically all it is. And then you can. I think I would try to crash the trains together. That'd be my thing, but they probably wouldn't actually crash because it doesn't seem like that kind of game. But I didn't see a Thomas the Tank Engine one on here, but there are a lot of Christmassy trains, and the graphics look good. They're very whimsical, you know, and all kids like whimsy, right?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Well, if you want to crash trains, Nate, what is it? I believe it's called Train World. Let me look it up on my Steam library. But the trains will crash in this one. What is it called? My computer's being a little slow here. Here we go. Train Valley.
Oh yeah, yeah.
You can
That's a good
crash.
one. Yeah.
That's a fun game. It's a native Linux game, and you will crash trains.
So I'm looking at the reviews for that Christmas train game you posted, and I love the quality reviews. Like thumbs up, it's fun. I love trains, and thumbs down, I hate it. Like it's just
It's mixed, but
just no elaboration. Just
yeah, it's just a silly game. You know, if a game is free, you know.
Right, yeah. I just think the reviews are funny. Like some dude gave it a thumbs down, but gave it 4 hearts.
Yeah.
That one looks like fun. I had seen it, but I didn't put it in my wish list, and now I did. So.
Well, I'm just downloading it. As these games are free, I'm just downloading them. Actually, that's
fun.
Yeah, I've got to launch Steam. I've been avoiding it because I have to go soon and go do Linux Gamecast. Speaking of Steam, but I told them I'm going to be a little late, and I just keep saying I'm going to be a little late.
Well, I super appreciate you being here, Jill, and you don't have to feel obligated to stick around. But I super appreciate it. It's nice to have you stop by. I understand you're busy. I totally
it's nice. So.
Yeah, take care, Jill. Cocaine Voltron needs you.
Oh, I love you guys. Merry Xmas, and thank you for having me on.
Hopefully we see you around soon.
Yeah. Nate, boot me, in our creators chat, because that was good, because then it reminds me. Okay, so if I
can do
put
that
it in my calendar.
Yeah. So I'm gonna next year I'm gonna try and change some things up a little bit. Try and expand things out a little bit. I got some ideas. I'll be hitting up all the other creators in the channel about it as well. So hopefully can hit me up. I'm still having fun. That hasn't changed. I just want to try and keep things as interesting as possible for a guy who's kind of dull. That's basically what it boils down to.
Nate, you are not dull. Oh my god.
So anyway,
Nate.
that's the goal anyway. So thank you very much for being here.
You collect lots of vintage computers, which I love. You have a great sense of humor. You're really good with the community, and this is just a perfect show for you to do. Really.
Yeah. So the funny thing is, when I first started doing these things with Rocco, and he was dealing with all the community stuff, I'm like, man, I would never want to be a Rocco and do all that work that he does. This is just nuts. Yeah, I would being in his position every Saturday night. How could he possibly do that? I would never want to do that. That's what I said.
I miss Rocco.
Oh, I do too.
Yeah, we all do. So I will be live tomorrow at 1 p.m. Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific for Destination Linux.
Yay!
Mean 10 a.m. Pacific.
At 10 a.m. Did I say p.m.?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh,
10 a.m. Pacific. Yeah.
See, because I'm the one who gets I'm the morning. I'm the only one on the West Coast.
Yeah.
Sorry. 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern.
Be 1 a.m. Eastern. Yep.
Yeah.
Love you too. Have a good night.
Bye.
We'll see you.
See you later, Joe.
Merry Xmas.
You as well.
Yeah. Here's another fun game, and it's free. And free's a good price.
Yep.
It's called Ho Ho Home Invasion.
Okay.
Seriously?
That sounds good. That sounds great.
So it says, in our festive Christmas microgame, we definitely didn't consider calling Santa game solid. Help Santa complete his Santa training ahead of the Christmas period by delivering presents without getting caught. So it's just kind of it's a very silly game. You have to try not to get caught delivering presents. That's the whole premise of the game, and it's literally just silly, and I think it's hilarious. So, yeah, check that one out if that interests you. But you have to like watch out for the dogs, the robots.
Okay, it's all one word.
Yeah. Ho ho home invasion.
There we go.
So yeah, you got to place presents under the tree and get out without getting caught. That's it. So, and if this game came out with these kind of graphics 20 years ago, I'm sure people would have paid high dollars for it. Maybe 30 years ago.
I wonder, this one my computer might have a hard time running, but oh well. I'll go try it anyway.
So speaking of Christmas, right?
Yes.
I got an early Christmas present other than the Steam Deck. Yeah. I got a nice new laptop that I'm enjoying quite a bit because I don't have to deal with Nvidia anymore.
Yay.
And
What'd you get?
That makes things a lot better. It's an Asus so many letters. It's like a G15 Advantage. It's a all AMD laptop from Asus. Ryzen 9.
Okay.
RX
so it's an APU.
No, it's not an APU. It's Ryzen 9 like 5980 HX and a Radeon 6800M. So it's like a pretty high end gaming laptop. And it's just so nice not having to deal with Nvidia drivers anymore. You become like sort of gaslit into believing like this is just how it is, and then eventually you see that you don't have to deal with it, and it's awesome.
I have the same problem actually. I believe it or not, I had the same problem as you with the laptop with a HP ZBook that I was running Linux on. And I recently just replaced its role with it's a work laptop. I replaced it with a Lenovo P16S with all AMD, which I'm now using for my home stuff. And I took that ZBook and I used it for work now, and it runs Windows. And because of the work that I do for a living, I have to use Windows.
Yeah.
And what I found was that the ZBook performed way better in Linux. I'm sorry, in Windows, and had better power management. And the Lenovo performed better in Linux and had better power management than it did in Windows.
Yeah, it's kind of wacky. And the great thing about this laptop is it's actually the first laptop I've had where 100% of the hardware works. Like, there's no compatibility issues whatsoever. Wi-Fi, display, hybrid graphics works out of the box. I don't even have to do anything for hybrid graphics. It just works. It just does it. And that's incredible to me.
Yeah.
Nothing,
I didn't even know
work.
that AMD made dedicated GPUs for laptops.
They have for many, many decades.
Oh, because for a while you couldn't get one.
Yeah, the last laptop I bought was I bought in 2017, but it was like in 2015 laptop. It had AMD GPU discrete, and actually, number wise, it still actually performs quite well.
Yeah, because all the gaming laptops I've owned in the past, they've all been Nvidia. So
look, if you want a good deal on one on eBay, Dell has their it's a Dell G15 5, and I think it's because it's got an AMD 4800 and it had a 5600M in it. It's basically the predecessor of that Asus laptop, but it was all AMD and it worked great. So if you were looking for a cheap prior gen gaming laptop,
repeat that model number again, because I am looking for a replacement for this laptop. So it was a Dell.
It's a G50. Yeah, it's a Dell. Just look up on eBay, Dell G15 AMD 4800, because that 4800 is the one that has the 8-core 16-thread proc in it.
Okay. Well, yeah, because this particular laptop, number one, it's not really mine, and number two, it's great for what it is. It's great for producing content, but I just need one with a GPU because OBS likes that GPU encoding better than CPU these days.
I'll be 100% honest with you. The best thing I've done with this thing so far is play Quake 2 with ray tracing. It was incredible.
Oh, man.
Like a game that I played as a teenager, that seeing it in like full path trace ray tracing is incredible. And it sucks that doesn't work on Linux, but it's pretty awesome though.
I was so sad when my old Dell blew its GPU. It just was it was just like
So I want to welcome Eric and Prophetic. Thank you so much for being here on this the last Linux Saloon of 2022. So it's a Christmas special. I don't know if you can tell.
That's awesome.
Hey, Joe, how are you? Just chatted with you yesterday.
Yeah, long time no see you.
Yes. Yep, and me and Eric, we match curtains. Again.
We do.
Well, they're close. I think Eric's a little more. There's a little more flair, I think, in Eric's because he has little circles where they join together. I think I see circles in yours.
No, I'll let you right. It doesn't.
Yeah.
The other one does.
So yours must be like the Kirkland Best version of his high-end, cold.
I had to special order these.
So,
yeah, guys, it's a Christmas miracle happened.
Oh yeah, what's that?
Yeah. Nvidia dropped drivers for my GTX GeForce. I have 1630s, and like the 1128. I didn't know about it, and then 1129 during OpenSUSE repositories.
Nice.
And I just installed it on my micro OS desktop. I layered it because I can't install it on the host technically. Well, I had to use transactional update and install it to make it part of the host, and it worked on first shot.
Nice. I'm really glad this micro OS is really making a lot of strides in the last few years.
Oh yeah.
I don't really know what all that means for like the future of how Linux is going to be, but I definitely see the benefits of that. It seems like a lot more. It's lockdown yet not lockdown core of your operating system.
Yeah, Neil. I was speaking to Neil last night, and he had a great term. Immutability isn't probably the best terminology for it. I think Bill, correct me if I'm wrong, he mentioned it was reprovisionable in the sense that it's immutable for its time, but you could provision it to make it an image again, which will then be locked down after you're done. So it's a great concept, and I think it is the future. I think we just got to wrap our heads around it with terminology and edge cases, but I think it's on its way.
Yeah, and I don't know if it's. I mean, there's some arguments, like Richard Brown. I know Flatpak everything, right? But there are arguments against Flatpak because you can't see the repeatability of things installed in Flatpak, but you can have all the containerization in Flatpak, which shields you from other things. So it's kind of like, I don't really know. I mean, for me, I'm just gonna keep cruising on Tumbleweed until I feel like. Well, I mean, I didn't leap because the wheels fell off. It made more sense for me at the time to go Tumbleweed. So until it makes more sense for me to use micro OS, until like the.
Yeah. On the home description of the landing page of micro OS, it mentions that it's like for lazy developers and people who just don't want to maintain their system. Right. So it's auto updating in the background, and yes, Flatpak all the things. And there is this nifty tool that ships with it default. They're kind of like up another project that's kind of really embedded in micro OS. It's called DistroBox. I think that's where you get that middle ground that really makes it click. So you kind of have like a mini image of a distro that you can install RPMs if you want to through that distro box. So it's very makes your system pristine, and yet you can do wonky things to it, and then not have to worry about booting up and then having a black screen with a terminal in front of your face. You can it's going to boot into a bootable system, which is pretty amazing.
Yeah, I think that's really awesome. I really do. And that's actually one of the reasons I went with OpenSUSE years ago, is because I could work around with it.
Snapshots. Yeah, it's beautiful. Like the best of Tumbleweeds. It's actually based on Tumbleweed. So when you're ready, Nate, it'll be here. And it'll feel like a glove. But yeah, Micro OS is still technically in beta. It's really close. But no, I'm sorry, it's a release candidate. So it's really close to being like a full version, fully released. And I've been using it for a while now, and sometimes I forget that it's a release candidate. It's so stable. So soon.
Oh, whoops, sorry.
And also for those who love Plasma in the last month and a half has made huge strides. So a lot of the things that were holding it back from being keeping it in alpha, almost everything is taken care of except for like one or two things. I think themes are like holding it back from being like a beta / release candidate. So those who have Plasma, I'm actually using the Plasma version right now on my main laptop, and because I don't want to be I want to keep a pulse on Plasma, and even though I'm a GNOME guy these days, it's coming along fantastically.
Yeah, I really like it if the OpenSUSE folks used. So if you go to KDE Looks and you search for OpenSUSE Breeze Dark theme,
it's great.
That's mine. I made it.
Oh wow! I think I'm using it right now. Actually, it's nice.
Yeah, you have to actually download it. It's not a package.
Oh no! Okay, I thought I saw OpenSUSE.
Just
Dark.
added it to the block list. Thanks.
Yeah. Okay.
I saw it. I thought I saw it in my themes. I'm gonna double check right now.
Because I installed it on my Steam Deck. So instead of seeing the Steam logo in the corner, I got my little chameleon. So it's kind of a faux, it gives me that faux OpenSUSE feel,
The SUSE Slab.
Yeah, exactly. SUSE Slab. I like that. Instead of Steam Deck, the SUSE Slab. That's awesome.
But yes, I'm gushing. But yeah, that's pretty much the land of Micro OS desktop these days.
That's cool. I know that Adam, he was doing a lot with Silverblue. I don't know if he still is, but I guess Silverblue and Micro OS are kind of the same cut of fabric.
Yeah, they're like maybe cousins. I wouldn't say like they're sisters. They're becoming. I think they were sisters for a while, but then like they're cousins in the fact that their feature sets are starting to branch out. I don't know if Adams, you want to share a little bit about how rebasing, what they've done recently with making it how easy it is to rebase stuff. It's super fascinating. No, okay. So just a real quick, like just how we make customizations to our OS, and like what, like say for example, MX Linux allows you to create a custom ISO pretty easily with their tool. Silverblue is enabling users to like kind of rebase off of someone else's image of their version of Silverblue. And making it super easy to do that, make switches, then roll back to your version pretty easily. So if you're doing some really cool stuff and you like what someone's doing, you can just say, here's my image, and you upload it in the registry, and you can call it and bring it down and rebase it and do some cool stuff. So that's
pretty amazing. It sounds like a technical feat to do that. Like,
yeah, that technical side of how to do that, the number of commands are quickly shrinking. And it's only a matter of time to someone. There are some GUI tools that are, being added to do it. I know Addons, not Adam, like Adam here, but ATOMS is an app that's making it pretty cool to do some DistroBox stuff and with the GUI and some container stuff with the GUI, but it's only a matter of time before you just kind of go to like a software center of sorts and just click on someone's image and just rebase and roll, and then boom. So it's only a matter of time, just so people make it convenient for other users.
Yeah, that's also very cool.
How's the keyboard, Eric?
You mean the one that the W and D doesn't work on anymore?
Yeah, that one.
Yeah, that's going to be my project after Christmas is tearing apart my laptop to put in a new keyboard.
Oh, what happened to it? Did you?
Well, the WASD keys seem to be worn out somehow.
Oh,
it's this laptop's like say coming up on a little over 4 years, somewhere around there. It still runs so well. Like it's a Dell XPS, and I have no reason to replace it. But yeah, I will type, and the D and the W in particular are really you got to pushing pretty hard, and so
So so you really can't play FPS shooters on that laptop.
No, and I'm not really doing that anymore anyway. The damage was done, I guess. It's funny because I didn't use it for a couple months. I'm not sure what happened. Like if maybe I had accidentally dropped something on it or something, but yeah, it was fine, and now it's not. And I've tried cleaning it and all of the obvious things, and it doesn't seem like it's going to work. And of course, replacing a keyboard in a laptop means you have to basically completely disassemble it, and lots of little cables and 500 screws.
Yeah, especially those unibody laptops like that. Yeah. They're a pain. But XPS 15s are pretty common, right? So getting one pretty easy, right?
Oh, the keyboards are like $25, I think. Yeah, they're not. They're not expensive. It's just. And I also never had this happen to me before, but the power brick died on it. Just out of nowhere. Like I was here one day and I saw my low battery light going, and I'm like, well, what the heck? And this Dell has a LED light in the tip of the charging cable, and it wasn't on. And I thought, and I'm like checking my wall socket and all this stuff, and yeah, it was something with, I guess it just died. And so I got a new one, and it was only $25 for like the cheapest one on Amazon, but it works fine. So
I just get the universal power bricks in case one blows. I can just replace the tip and just stick it in.
Well, this one looks like it got they stole the molds from Dell, because it's basically the same exact thing. It's a little bit lighter, so the guts are probably not as good, but $25, and if it lasts for a year or whatever, I'll just buy another one.
Does the XPS have like a video graphics card on it, or is it just Intel based?
Yeah, this has 10 something. Yeah, I don't even remember what it is right now, but yeah, it has hybrid graphics, and it works really well. This has been a great Linux laptop. The only thing that doesn't work is a fingerprint reader by some like obscure company that doesn't do drivers.
Yeah, it's probably a proprietary driver. Yeah,
it's like good something. I don't know what. And anyway, but beyond that,
how expensive power bricks can be. But then it makes sense if you're powering a separate graphics card. But it's cool, you got it for $25.
Yeah, it's only like 110 watt. It's not a very like heavy duty one, which is nice. But yeah, it's been a really, really good laptop. It's quiet but efficient for cooling, and especially when it's so thin. Such a small laptop, very small bezels. The material, the soft touch on it hasn't started like peeling off or anything, so it's still in good shape. Yeah, it's I've been
nose
really...
cam.
Yeah,
the nose cam.
Is it the one with the nose cam?
Hideous nose cam. Yeah, it was a couple generations before they changed it back to the top. So yeah,
nose cam.
Yeah, you've seen it. It's literally, the perspective is ridiculous. But so I just have the.
Could you switch to it just for nostalgia's sake?
I think so. Let me see.
Yeah,
it's like the reverse Instagram model, because they usually like take a picture above themselves and like
I don't even know where it is. It's so far down there.
It accentuates your chin. You got a strong chin.
Yeah. So it's actually, I mean, the performance of it and the color is not bad. The frame rate and everything. But the the perspective is just stupid. So anyway. Yeah. So I've been talk about like having good luck, and I've always enjoyed Dell laptops. I don't know I've had plenty of people say they've had bad experiences with Dell, but I mean, I've had them back 15 years now, probably.
With Dell, it depends on what you get these days. What models you get. Some of them are crappy.
I have a question about your Dell, because if I may, the question I have is, do you ever have issues with it where you lose your touchpad when you wake it up from sleep?
I've always used an external mouse, so I don't really know. I'm just not a touchpad user. I'll use it if I'm traveling or something, or if it's inconvenient to have a mouse. But where I have it now, I don't even have much space. But because I just use a thumb ball, it doesn't really matter. I don't need a lot of space. So, I I try to do like video editing and stuff that's really finicky, and I just have a hard time with the touchpad getting those edits right and stuff and grabbing little things. I know people are so used to it now that it seems weird to use a mouse. I'm so used to it.
I remember seeing my nephew playing Minecraft with a trackpad, and I was like, "What are you doing?" And this man was smooth operator, right? But I guess if you start when you're like 3, then you just gain that ability easily, right?
Yeah. But me, I can't do video editing or photo editing with a trackpad either. Just give me my Logitech mouse. That's all.
Yeah.
Or my thumb ball.
Well, I'd actually forgotten about this for years. I used one, no kidding, like 15 years ago or something, and I got away from it, and I'd been using a Logitech mouse, which is really a nice mouse, but I kind of got just a lot of issues with like my hand hurting and cramping and stuff, and so I switched back to the thumb ball, and I don't like the finger-based trackball.
No.
But the thumb ball, it works really well. The only issue I have is if my thumb is slick or really smooth, I need to put something. I have a little thing of like moisturizer where I'll have to put a little something on there to keep it sticky enough to work well. But I'm pretty precise with it. I can fling it across the screen and land it right where I want it. And
I can too. The thing is, I broke mine.
Oh, okay.
So I need to get a new one.
Well, because apparently trackballs is trackball, like it's a little, it's almost like mechanical keyboards. Like there's a company you can that has like modular ones that you can kind of like build out the way you want. And so I guess the people that are passionate about them are like really into modding them. You can get like big instead of the plastic ball, you can have like a ball bearing and like it's,
the only thing is I cannot play like Minecraft the shooters with a trackball. I cannot do it. I have to use this mouse.
But you mentioned the quality of that XPS lasting so long. I have this Alienware laptop. It's a Alienware 15 R3 that I've had since 2017, I guess.
I know you've had that thing for a long time.
Yeah, and it's still going. The only thing I've had to do to it is like repaste it, to make it sound more like a Dyson and less like a Hoover, but it's still still loud.
Yeah, this one pretty quickly the one of the fans got a weird like kind of grind to it, and I thought for sure they were going to make me send it back, and finally I got someone on chat and I just said, look, I know what I'm doing. Just can I please just have the fan? And they sent both 2 new fans, and so I figured while I was in there I'd just replace them. And because Dell has always been, they make repairing laptops so much easier. Like they just really recently started soldering on memory and stuff like that. For the longest time they were the only ones. This one still, it's 12 screws on the back. The whole plate comes off, and the drive is available, the memory is available, the cooling unit, the fans, like everything is just very easy to get to. And I've had to repair my like in-laws laptops or other family, and like HP and Lenovo, like a lot of them are just a serious pain in the butt to like, you have to rip the whole thing apart just to get to the memory and one of these HPs. It was just, and the plastic was really flimsy. So like the little tabs were breaking off, and I've had a lot of frustrating moments with non-Dell laptops. So that's one of the things that's kept me coming back is it's not like I'm taking it apart every day to service it. But I mean, when I want to upgrade the memory or I want to do something like that, like this one was needed. You could either have a battery that was the full width of the chassis, or you could get a half battery or like a 2/3 battery and then have space for a 2.5 drive. And so I opted for the smaller battery and put in, and the drive didn't come in it, but they gave you the cable for it and the mounting bracket. And so I just bought like an Evo or something, Samsung, and it was super easy to put in, and like, there was an extra M.2 slot, and like they just, I don't know, the Dell actually seems like they build their products for people who actually use computers, and they're not like an appliance. Like if I feel like a Mac, I mean, I'm not just calling out Macs, but there are plenty of other manufacturers that do it. But so much of this technology has become almost like solid state in a way where they just don't expect anyone to touch it. You know, the repairability is terrible, and
especially with the new iMacs. Because I mean, they designed it that you will never open them, even if they want you just to replace them.
Yeah.
Bill, what's like the go-to laptop that you go to for like, your job? Because I know you handle a lot of purchases for businesses of different sizes. What's like your top two go-to laptops?
I've actually been outfitting my crew with Lenovo E15s, and same thing for my clients. Been having them get E15s. They seem to just work without issue, whether they run Linux or Windows. And as far as repairability goes, I'm not the average place because I have a shop where I have guys that just strip and build machines all day. So for them to take down a Lenovo laptop to the board and change stuff out on it, they're comfortable doing it. I don't do it all the time, but it's not uncommon for us to upgrade RAM or a solid state drive in one of those. But I do agree that the Dell is probably the easier of the three big brands to work with. They do have a very nice, easy layout. I have three Dell Latitude 5580s that I use for tinkering, and I've never had an issue ever opening one of those to get to the RAM, the drive, the battery, or anything like that.
And Nate, I know you like recycling and resurrecting old
I do.
hardware. If you had to buy like something new, what brand would you go with?
I'm not sure. So I've had very good luck with Dell also. I've really liked their Latitude line. I haven't worked, well, actually I've recently worked on a, so someone dropped I want to say it was an XPS, maybe not. Maybe it's just an Inspiron actually, but it had a metal case and it had, it's a touch screen. It's one of those like fancy computers. They use it. It's being used for business. It was dropped and it sounded like a prop plane getting ready to taxiing, getting ready to take off every time, it was being used. So I took it apart. I rebent some of the metal. There was actually some bits inside the fan. I don't know how that happened, but I basically just cleaned the whole thing out, put it back together, and it's still functional. I mean, it survived the fall, and nothing is trashed in it. It's just a little bit beat up now. But and also I got I have an HP EliteBook 840 G7. It's a 10th gen Intel CPU on it. That's actually been a great machine, except for the T key fell off, and the scissor thing is not as durable as some of the older Latitudes. I don't know what's wrong with these manufacturers, why they're creating these crap keyboards. I blame Apple actually, because they started the crap keyboard revolution, and so I got a replacement part for it, but it's not the keycap itself has like a sticker on it. So, but regardless, I just put like a silicone membrane over the keyboard anyway, because I think something might have gotten in there, it may have accelerated the damage, because sometimes my kids use the keyboard and whatever. So I did buy a replacement, but in order to replace the keyboard, you got to take everything out of it to put the new keyboard inside, which is nothing like the Latitudes of like 10 years ago, where you basically you pop a panel off, you take off 3 screws, slide it out, disconnect it, put the new one on. It's a 3.5 minute job. But this is like a 4 hour. It's probably not, but it's a commitment to take it out. So I'm gonna keep using this keyboard until another key fails, and then I'll replace the keyboard. Basically, that's kind of where I'm at. But I'm gonna keep the silicone cover on it, because that should hopefully prevent anything from like causing additional stress on the keys, I guess. So that's where that's at for now. But I personally like the business class laptops, because I feel like they're designed to be worked on. They don't have the stuff soldered in, and but if not for that, I'd probably go with the framework machine. I think that the framework machine is probably would be where I'd go. I just don't like the screen ratio. I want to have everything the same. Like on a 1080p screen, I realize that people are like, oh, 1080p is no good, but like I like the 14-inch laptops, like the smaller ones. So I don't want a 1440p.
Nice.
I don't want a 1440p screen on a 14-inch laptop. I want a 1080p screen. So I think, I don't know. I mean, that's kind of where I'm at right now. Maybe that'll change. It'll be one of those things like I'll probably be forced to change to some other ratio, like I was forced to the this ratio some years back. But I don't know. I want to make sure that things that I can upgrade the memory and that I can upgrade the storage, and that it's nice and serviceable. Like what I like about this, this is my like stream control machine, but this lower panel on here, it has captive screws. So you take the screws out, but they don't actually fall out of the pan. And
Nice.
And then everything is accessible in there. You can change the memory, storage. It's got an M.2 storage in there. There's, other components and such if you really need to. I'd replace the speakers in it because the speakers blew. It was under warranty, of course, and it was like 5 screws, and then you take that, you take the little connector out, no big deal. So it's actually, as far as like, I'm pretty impressed with the design of the EliteBook, but I've also worked on other HPs where I would rather not like do anything with them. So, I think it's a case by case basis. But the thing I like about HP is their supply chain is a lot cleaner. I don't know how clean Dell is, but I think that they're one of the cleaner supply chains as well. But I like for me for ethical reasons, I will go with a clean supply chain. That's kind of it's important for me. I'm not going to buy things knowing that it doesn't have a good supply chain.
Hard to get around these days, but it's getting better little by little.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
I think it's getting better.
I mean, HP's been caught doing it these days, and I got several HP laptops in my house. So,
yeah, well, HP has a clean supply chain. It's part of their business ethic is ensuring the supply chains are clear, or as clean as they can be. And it does bother me. It bothers me a lot. So when I try not to buy dirty products if it's possible. So
yeah, and it's a little unfair and actually unfortunate that the only HPs that I've ever really dealt with have been really awful consumer grade. Like whatever the cheapest one was on sale that day is what my family bought because they just don't know and don't care.
Right.
So I'm sure that there are nice HPs and nice everything because they all have a high-end model. But yeah, I think it's really interesting too that there are alternatives, like System 76. And actually, funny enough, whenever I was looking for this laptop, I had a really hard time figuring out which one I wanted. So I actually had a Razer 15 and hated the keyboard so much that I literally sent it back like 3 days later because I couldn't type on it. It was like I had a TRS 80 when I was a kid. And if you remember, that had those like spaced out tall keys that weren't really keyboard keys. They were just like buttons. And that's exactly what the Razer keyboard felt like to me. It wasn't a productivity laptop. It was definitely like for gaming, and I didn't care enough. So I tried to order a Lenovo, whatever they're like X, whatever that is, like the nicer 15-inch models. And it would have taken like 3 months to get here from China. So I was like, yeah, that's not happening. And I wanted to get a System 76, but they didn't have any in stock. And it was another thing where it was going to be like 5 weeks before they had them in stock. And so the Dell was available. And I think it was maybe slightly reduced because it was last year's model. And so, yeah, I got it. And I'm really glad I did because here I am still. I mean, there's literally nothing wrong with it. And I besides, self-inflicted, damage with the keyboard.
Right.
And so if I can replace that, then I mean, from a performance standpoint, like there's nothing I do that it has any issue with. I mean, it renders video, it does, virtual machines, and like everything I throw at it, it does perfectly fine. And I mean, I'm sure it's always the upgrade conundrum, right? I mean, you could upgrade because there's something new and shiny, but ultimately, like, what is 15% more performance? How much is that going to impact my day-to-day life? That theoretical improvement in performance. I mean, if you have an old system and it's going to be my wife has an ancient phone. She has a Galaxy S7, which is from like 2016. And so you think in terms of like cell phone years, like that thing is beyond old. And she's one of those people that hates change. So she'd rather suffer with an like antique piece of equipment. But I'm getting her a nicer phone for Christmas. And so it'll be painful, and I'll have to help her probably for months after that to get her comfortable with it. But that type of a change is going to be like night and day, and I can see that too, whenever you have like an older system and you upgrade it from there. But if I got something brand new today, like it's going to be marginally faster, and for what, I just don't need it. So
right.
With this trip,
well, speaking of nice HPs, I don't know if you were noticing, Eric, but I was showing off the computer I'm using. This is a nice HP. However, with HP, there's a trade-off. All the proprietary technology that's in it, especially this one, because I'm running at least 9 proprietary drivers on here for the audio code, for the screen panel, for the keyboard. The Wi-Fi code is proprietary. Apart from the audio code, the speakers are proprietary. They've got a driver running to it. That's only 5 of them right there. I know there's more too. I'm just like, this thing has issues with Linux because of all the proprietary drivers it has to run.
Yeah, and that is a shame, because hardware is so, and I think it's maybe Dell. That's another reason that I've always run Dells, is the compatibility with Linux on Dell has always been really good. Yeah. There's very little of that sort of nonsense with proprietary stuff. But like I said, the only thing on here that's never worked is that fingerprint scanner.
Yeah. Well, yeah, this thing is compatible because I make it compatible. But the thing is, like to get the keyboard, the onboard keyboard working, Ubuntu, Arch, none of them package the driver themselves. I have to go to the HP website and pull down the driver. They do build it themselves on a .run file, but every time there's a kernel update, I have to go through and run that .run file to get the keyboard to work.
What is it? Do they have like special keys or something on there that you have to?
No, it's a backlit. It's backlit. And I don't know why it's backlit. Okay, it's a backlit keyboard. Gotcha. And I'm just like, and the thing is, I'm just like, generally with backlit keyboards, if it requires a proprietary driver, it's just the backlight that requires it. This thing is the whole thing.
Is it RGB? Like, should it change colors? You mean, or is it just?
No, it's just a standard backlit keyboard. And I'm just like, this is not a gaming laptop, so it's just. I'm like, yeah, this is one of the reasons why I want. Number one, yeah, it's a family laptop I'm borrowing that they eventually want back. But number two is I want something that's a little less proprietary, a little less troublesome to keep running.
Yeah. Nate, are we running long here?
We are. Yep. And I just want to say thank you all for being here, and those that were not able to stick around. I super appreciate you all being a part of Linux Saloon for 2022. I'll still be doing some things, but just not on Saturday. I'm looking at doing some sort of sometime before we come back on. I think the 14th will be we'll be returning on the 14th of January. So the next 2 weekends will be for the holidays. Then I'm taking my kids on a little vacation that next weekend after that. So kind of get out of the cold for a little bit. That old chestnut. I don't live in beautiful sunny Florida. Where it's always sunny or it's hurricane season. So I can't
take your pick.
But it's always sunny in Philadelphia.
Is it though? Is it really?
That's why I'm here. Sunny in my heart.
It's only sunny if you're by prophetic. That's what it boils down to. So, I'll miss you all, but I'll still be on Telegram and the Discord and on Matrix. I still have a Matrix. Still do the Matrix thing. So you can hit me up there if you need any help with anything. I might be able to get to you, but I will be producing some Christmas content here before Christmas. So before Christmas actually starts.
Well, speaking of content, didn't
Yes.
you just make a video?
I did. I talked about it a little earlier.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
the Commodore
That's great.
1541 Impostor. Yeah, I enjoyed I enjoy it right now. I mean, I'm enjoying the fruits of that labor right now. It's running. It's my webcam and my microphone are hooked into it, so it's
It was
quite
pretty
delightful.
epic.
Yeah, it was a fun thing.
Excellent.
So there are plenty of other great Linux content out there. Destination Linux will be streaming live tomorrow at 1 p.m. Now, Steve's very own, he's taking a Christmas vacation as well. Not in the Chevy Chase style, but a Christmas vacation nonetheless. I'm not sure if the Atlanta Linux enthusiast group is meeting, but you can also check them out there on Sundays as well. ALE.org, I believe.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Linux User Space, check them out. They are still making content. I think the last episode, it's either going to drop Monday maybe or Sunday, is their topic feedback show. Linux Out Loud is a podcast I'm part of. Sometimes Bill is there. It's always better when he is, but there's Matt and Wendy otherwise. And we talked about some Christmas software on there as well. And you can go to cubiclenate.com. I do things. There's an article of a complete parts list for everything that it costs to build my Commodore 1541 Impostor or C1541X. And I have more stuff coming soon. Linux Saloon is part of the Tux Digital Network. Check out more great shows at tuxdigital.com. I want to thank you all for being part of the conversation in both the Zoom meeting and the YouTube stream all year long, all 50 episodes, as well as everyone who watches the show after the fact. So thank you too for giving this a watch. I want to thank everyone involved in making the Linux and open source tools possible for us to not only have this conversation, but also to have fun and enjoy our technology. Linux truly puts personal back into personal computer. Thank you for stopping by. Be sure to tip your developers, and please remember to Linux responsibly. Until next time, see yas.
Happy holidays, everyone.
Yep. Happy holidays.
Merry
Merry
Christmas.
Christmas.
And happy-
Take care.
happy New- and
There's
then also,
Wayland. Oh, sorry.
also
Keep going.
one
But
there-
go ahead.
Yeah.
I was going to say the
It doesn't work properly.
I'm sorry, you broke up there a little bit. What was that?
Yeah, I'm not surprised.
No,
I think
the
the one
last
that was
laptop.
out before his.
Yeah.
Me, I
surprised how
just get the
expensive those are.
universal ones.
What's
Thanks for the
happening?
demo.
I've
HP
had
is
nothing.
always gonna be a
Depends on-
problem.